So this is a tutorial about how to use Audition and how to edit sound, fade in, fade out, and all those kinds of things. And I'm going to do a separate tutorial for using sound in Adobe Animate. So here we go. So first of all, we're going to import the sound file. So you need to have your sound file. Oops, that's the wrong thing. So you need to have your sound file ready. So file open. And then I know that my sound file is on my desktop, so I'm going to select that, and then I'm going to open it. And you can see it appears as a sound wave on the screen, and you are in the waveform. Up in the top left hand corner there's waveform, and there's also multi-track. So it could be that you just want to do something really simple and you never need to use multi-track, in which case you can see that my sound here is 4. Along the top here is the time counter, and it's 4 minutes and 40 seconds long, which seems very long indeed. So there's also some other things here, which are the zooming in button, zooming out buttons and stuff like that, and then there's the play. So let's play it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag it over to here because that's kind of interesting. I can see that the sound wave is slightly different in the middle insofar as it's got more gaps in it. So you can see where there's black space here, there is no sound or smaller sounds, and where there's full space it's jam-packed full of sound. So let's just zoom in on that part and play it. So as you can hear, it is slightly more beaty, I suppose. So let's just start off at the beginning. So there's your sound wave. So basically the point is that where there's lots of green, there's the sound is full up. So what you're looking for if you need to edit sound is where there are gaps in the sound or pauses in the sound, so that you don't get this weird kind of straightforward just crashing in of sound. What we're going to do, first of all, I'm going to show you how to fade in. There's a little fade in button there, which is at the top left hand corner of the waveform, and there's another one at the top right hand corner, which is for fade out. So you just simply want to fade in and fade something out, and you don't want to change anything else about it. You just simply drag that, and you can see that the sound wave is changing to reflect the fact that I've faded that out there, and I'm going to do the same at the end. So I'll just play you a little bit of how that sounds. To play it, all you do is hit the space bar, and to stop it playing, hit the space bar. So you can see it's fading in. Okay. Now then, if you want to take some of this sound away, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep this sound here. There are some tools up here, and I've got selected the time selector tool, and that allows you to remove parts. So all you do is drag it and highlight it. So I'm going to drag it to there, and then you just hit the backspace key, delete key, and then I'm going to do the same at the other end. I'm not going to worry too much how precise I am for this. So I'm going to hit the delete key. Okay, now we get to see what we've got left with. There we go. And the other thing is, just keep an eye on, is that now I've got about 40 seconds of sound. Now for your animations, you know that if you're doing a teaser trailer, you know that you need to have at least a minute. You might want to make it slightly longer than that. So just to make this, once you can use the fade in and fade out whenever you like. So as you can hear, again, it's a bit dramatic, the beginning of that. So I'm just going to fade that in there, and let's play it again. Better. And then go to the other end, and I'm going to fade it out a bit more dramatically, actually. And let's drag that right there, play it. There we go, that's better, isn't it? Okay, so when you're happy with what you've got, just simply by cutting bits out, making something shorter, when you're happy with that, you can go ahead and export it. So you go to File, and you go Export, and then you just go file again, and it's saving it as an MP3. Now we've had some problems with importing MP3, so I suggest you use .wav, which is a Wave PCM, and then give it a proper name. So you can write, I'm going to write edited version, and then I'll write how long it is, so I know which one's who. You don't need to worry about the sample type at the moment, and just say OK. And then let's just go and have a look on my desktop and make sure that, there we go, there it is. Let's play it. So there we go, you can see that's all right. And I do suggest that you do play things, because sometimes things go wrong and you think you've got it and you haven't got it and all that. Okay, so I'm going to go a little bit further into this, and by using the multi-track. And this allows you to make layered sounds or repeat sounds and stuff like that. So you'll see as we go. Okay, so I'm going to go to multi-track, and you can see a little pop-up Windows arrived. It's giving me an untitled session, and I'm going to call this buttons, because I'm going to make some buttons in there. And say OK, don't worry about anything else. And then you can see that you've got no waveform, so you need to go in and take your original sound, which lives over in this kind of like a little library over here where the files are kept. And I always get a pop-up button that tells me that it's running at a it doesn't run at the same sample rate. You just say OK, and it sorts it out for you so kindly. So there we go. So there it is playing. So I'm just trying to find a bit that I want to repeat. So I'm going to have a look at what these big bits are over here, because I can see that there's a gap before them. So I might decide, and I'm going to zoom in again as well to see. I'm going to zoom in like this. There we go. You can see that. There we go. So that means that I can really see where the gaps are. So let's just play. So I can just grab the bit that I want. And again, if you can't grab it, it means that you haven't got the right select tool selected up here. So I'm going to go and select that, which is this funny little kind of bracket looking thing. And just grab the bit that I want to copy. So I'm going to go, I'm using a Mac, so it's Command C, it could be Control C for you. And as you can see, there's track 1, track 2, track 3, track 4, and it goes on and on and on. So the idea of this is that if you drag the playhead back to the beginning again, you can simply make sure you've got the next track selected and then paste it in there. And you can carry on pasting it in there ad infinitum. You can see it will paste it wherever you've got the playhead selected. So if you want a gap between them, you can do that. Otherwise, you can just move them next to each other. So I'm going to mute. There's a mute button on the top track, so I don't want to hear that playing on top of it. So I'm just going to mute that. And I'm going to play. Let's play this. Okay, there we are. Now this is something that you might use. You might have a piece of music that goes on the background of your animation. You might want to have sound effects that come in when certain things happen in the animation. So this is a great way to do that. And you can export all of these tracks, say track 2, 3, 4, or 1, whatever you've got. You could export them separately, which is a bit handy, really. So in order to do that, you just select the track that you want to export. So what we're going to do, I'm going to move that back right there, and it's going to play it again. Let's have a look. Okay, so once you're happy with what you've got, you're ready to export that sound. Now you can literally have hundreds of different sound effects by grabbing pieces of music. At this point, you can also import other sounds. So you might have lots and lots of files in here that have got various. You can import spoken word. You can record sounds yourself. So you could record yourself clapping or something like that if you want to have that kind of sound effect, and have them on different tracks, and then just export the different tracks out. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to support. I've selected track 2. It's gone kind of blue. I've got everything else muted anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And then I'm going to go to File, and then I'm going to export. It's slightly different this time, and because it's a multi-track mix down. So, it's some reason. Oh, okay, you have to really select it, I think, like that. So I've just dragged it. So then export it, multi-track mix down, and then you can see that now I've got time selection. Actually, that's wrong. Sorry, I've got. Let's do it again. Export, multi-track mix down. Selected clips is what I want, not the time selection. You can just do a selection of time, but in this case I want to do selected clips. And again, I'm going to save it as a WAV, and I'm going to call it sound effect. And make sure it's WAV. Make sure for some reason it's saving to my documents, and I want it to save to my desktop, so I'm going to change that. Save, and then when you're happy, then you can just say OK, and then just go back to your desktop and make sure that it has indeed. There it is. Okay, and then just to save this file, if you save the audition file, this is like the mothership file, obviously, so it will respect everything you've done. So if you just go ahead and save it, it will save the whole session. It will save everything that you've got there. And that's about it. So thank you very much. And the next one I'm going to do is about how to put sound into Animate.